Hey crafty cuties, welcome back to Paper Terrace. It's been a little while since we have been able to just sit here, not rush through, and create some junk journals. So I'm planning to make 2 in this video, and they are going to be a tag style junk journal, just a 1 signature, and I'm mostly going to be using scrapbook paper, maybe a little fabric. I have some seam binding, some really pretty colors here from Cottage Creations. And yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm using this paper pad here from Park Lane from Joann's, and I have some stickers too. The main idea is I want these to look like a tag. Now, I could not decide if I wanted it to be horizontal or vertical. So as you can see, I got started here. I wanted to mention that if you like this idea, but you want it to be more than 1 signature, you could totally use a recycled like cracker box, cut off the 3 sides that you don't need, and you can still cut it into a tag shape. So that's just an idea. I may do that in another video if you want to see that, but for today, we'll stick with this. So I already have my paper cut down, and this is 12 inches by about 5 inches, and you can see I just folded it in half, cut the corners. And then this is going to be 12 inches by 7. I just used the same paper. And so what I did was I folded it in half, but I thought that it was too wide, so I fold in about 1 inch and then I cut off the sides. So let's get started, and let's add the pages first, and then we'll do the decorating at the end. I feel like we could get real carried away with the decorating, so I'm going to go through and pick some pages. We're going to start with the horizontal one first, but these are going to be kind of the same idea. And so I'm going to go through and just pull out some pages. I have my variety of pages. I'm using a lot more scrapbook paper in this journal than I normally do, just because it's been a while since I've got to have so much fun with scrapbook paper. But before we cut that, I want to do some gluing. Since I am using cardstock as my cover, I trust using cardstock as a cover, but I like the idea of making it even more durable. So I'm using some wallpaper. This is kind of just a plain, there's a little bit of texture. And I am going to go ahead and glue this down. So this will essentially be the inside. And what I'm going to do is just glue all the way around. I am going to be sewing this cover, the outside. So I just need a little bit of glue to kind of hold it in place. I'm not adding too much. I don't want this to wrinkle up. I'm using my Tombow Mono Aqua just because that's what I had nearby. And I'm just going to line it up the best that I can. Like that. And then I will trim around the edge. And I was just thinking that I think I want to possibly use some fabric on this one, just around the spine. So we'll get to that as well. Yeah, it's definitely been a while since I have done a journal cover out of cardstock or scrapbook paper, and I used to do it all the time. Never had an issue with it, and I love it, but I have just really become obsessed with fabric junk journal covers. But it's kind of nice to go back to your roots, where you started. Okay, I'm also going to be making some fabric covers for these, so that will be fun. Okay, now just really gonna be careful here and fold this in half. I'm gonna set this aside and let it dry. And I'm just trying to make sure that that wallpaper doesn't like wrinkle on the inside. So I'll put something heavy on top to let it dry, and then I may trim around the edges, but we can do that later. If there's a little bit of wrinkling, that's okay. and normal. So let's cut down our pages now. Okay, real quick, before we decide on what size page we want, you can go about this two ways. Okay, so our journal cover is 6 inches wide, but since we have the tag shape, you can see that if you want the pages to also be 6 inches wide, you'll want to cut the pages down so that they also have that tag shape. Now, I love that idea, but if you would rather have all of the pages be square, then you want to measure where your little divot begins. So for me, that would mean that I have up to about 4.5 inches. And let me show you what I mean so you can see what that looks like real fast here. So here are the two different page sizes that you can decide between if you're doing the same size as me. So this is 12 inches by 4 3/4. So when I fold it in half, it will be that 6-inch width. So let me show you. So when we put it in the journal, you will have to trim off. Of course, you don't have to do anything. If you want your pages to stick out, that's fine too. That could be another look. But I want my entire journal to end up looking like a tag. And I just need to trim a tiny bit off here just to be that same size. Then the other option would be to have 4 3/4 height by about 9 inches across. And I'm going to fold that. I just folded the excess, by the way. But this should fit in there as a square. So I'll just show you how both of those look. And you can decide what you like. So it looks like a tag. And we're going to put like a little tab at the top and stuff when we are finished as well, just so you know. So here is what the square pages will look like, which honestly, it might be nice, especially if you wanted this to be like a writing journal or something like that. And you could still do fold outs if you want. You could have just the full page be the square and have that just be a blank page. You could make pockets, but then here is what the longer page looks like. And this is going to give you a little bit more room, especially if you like adding photos to your journal. The bigger size might be better, but it's kind of personal preference. And if you want, like me, you can do a variety of sizes. So I am just going to see, a lot of my pages are not even 12 inches wide anyways. So I'm mostly going to be starting out by cutting down the height, and then I'll just have a variety. And some of my pages are already small enough. So I'm going to start by trimming all of them down to 4 3/4 for the height. So I'll trim down all of these pages and I'll see you back here in just one moment for you. All right, let's go ahead and fold all of these in half to make sure that they fit in our journal. And then we can trim any of the corners that we need as well. Sometimes I'm like, okay. Sometimes I think I cut down to the right size, but then I didn't actually. But that's okay. We can always fix that if we did. And I think I'm going to clean up the edges of this one. Okay. And I'm not doing too much decorating to these pages. These are essentially going to be blank journals. Okay. And then for this one right here, I did, instead of cutting down to the right height, I folded up so that I can have a pocket. And I do want to grab a glassine bag and a little mini envelope to be a part of my pages, so it can be a true junk journal. I have a glassine bag here. We'll just fold that in half. I'm going to snip off the very edge so that it can be a little pocket. And I think you could have a lot of fun with different envelopes and tags and things that you put as your pages. I'm going to actually fold this one kind of uneven. I gotta fold it a little bit smaller actually. I think it'll work okay as a page. It has a little window, so I thought that could be fun. I'm gonna wait to snip off the edge just to see how it all fits together. Now I'm going to make my signature, and I'm just going to alternate how I put the pages in. We'll just put one page inside another, kind of alternating the different types of paper that I have. I have some double-sided scrapbook paper. We'll put this here. And sometimes when you cut your pages down and you think, I cut these exactly to the size that I need. Well, sometimes when you have a thicker signature, it's very common that your pages end up being a little bit too big for your journal cover, because essentially we're making this big pile of papers. And so it's only normal that the ones that are in the center are going to end up being a little bit longer. That's completely normal. If that bugs you, you can either make your cover after you put your signature together, or you can just make sure to measure your pages like half an inch smaller than the cover, and you should be good. You can trim them at the end, or you can always add lace or something like that to the cover of your journal to kind of hide those pages. Now, I am going to be cutting my pages at that angle to give it the tag shape, so I have a pretty easy way of fixing that. I need some pretty thick scissors. So this is a pretty thick little junk journal, and so I'm just going to, I might be better off by doing this in layers, but let's see. Can I do it all at once is the question. I'm just gonna try for it. Oops. So I will finish trimming this off, and you can see that those book pages, even though I measured them correctly, they do come out. Again, it's just because there's such a bulky amount of papers together. Okay, I think I trimmed those pretty good. If I need to make any last minute changes later, I can. But I think it's time to move on to decorating the cover. I want to do that before adding the pages in so that I can do any sewing. But we have our cute little signature here. And also, I think just on the side, I'll cut down all of the pages for this one just the same way that I did. And I'll just kind of show you this one along the way. Since it has the same instructions, we'll just decorate it a little bit different. Okay, so let's move this out of our way. And now it is time to decide how we want to decorate. We have a lot of cute papers to choose from, but I went with something a little bit more plain because I haven't been embellishing a whole lot on journal covers, and I really wanted to play around with. I cut this out from the cut aparts, and I thought that would be a really cute little thing to put on. But then there's all of these cute stickers, embellishments to choose from. So I think I at least know that I want the carrot patch somehow. And then I want a fabric kind of spine. Now I was thinking, I love this fabric, but I think it would just cut off the image. So we'll skip that. Then I'm thinking, oh, carrots, that might go. But it's not really the right color scheme, but I think because we have the carrots here, I think it might work. So I think I'm gonna cut down a strip of this. Yeah, let's just go for that. And I'm just gonna cut it down a little bit wider than I need. Oh, I don't wanna cut into this. And I am just going to make the edges be jagged so that it's okay if they're not straight. And then we'll set that aside there. And I think I'm gonna do the same thing to the very edge here. Oopsies. Well, I think that'll work. And I cut it a little bit bigger than what I need. That way we can, it's better to have more than less, I think. Okay, so yes, I think this is gonna be super cute. I'm just gonna kind of play around. Is that gonna be too much? Maybe a little thinner, and then maybe a little piece of lace. Okay, I think I am liking where this is going. Get that out of the way. So I just have everything placed here, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and glue it in place, and then we'll do some sewing detail. Yeah, this is gonna be so cute. I have this one kind of prepped as well, and let's see, I think I'll just start with this part here. I'm gonna add brown ink around. I was debating on brown or this blue, but I think I want to give it a little bit more of a vintage look, so we'll go with the brown. You could do a more clean cut version of it, but I like to try things out, so if I don't like this, then on the next one I'll do more of a clean cut kind of look. And I think I'll add brown around the edges too. And then I'm just gonna add a little bit of lace kind of underneath this card here. Let's see if that works. And I'm going to sew around this, I believe, or at least that's what I'm thinking I'll do. Where did my scissors go? Okay, I put this back on just to get an idea of how far that's going to go over so that I can place my little embellishment where I want it. And I think we'll kind of go right here. Yeah. Ooh, I feel like that should have come down a little bit. I feel like it should be more centered. So let me see if it's too late. Whoopsies. I can probably, if there's any like glue spots, I can probably fix it with ink. Okay, I think that'll be okay. There we go. All right, and then I'll add just a little bit of glue for this part. Not too much since I'm gonna go take it to the sewing machine. Just enough to hold it in place. And let's see, I think I want it over like that much. I want you to see the design, but not have it be too thick. Yeah, something like that. And then same thing, I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue. Oh, I think that might be a little too long anyways, but yeah. I love this trim, so cute with this. All right, I'm just going to let that sit for a minute. For this one, I just have a little doily. And then this is a piece of fabric, and I took just a circle of paper and glued it to the paper just so it has a little bit more stability. And I'm gonna glue that down. I think that's pretty cute. Now I'm realizing that I'm not sure what I want to do for a closure on this journal, and I'll show you why, but let me get that where I want it. I think that's good. So with this one, I'll have an obvious closure because I'm going to put like an eyelet here and here so it can tie shut, and I think this one makes sense because of that. But this one, I want it to be a tag, so I'm going to have the eyelets up here. So it's not really going to make sense to tie it shut up here, I don't think. But I don't want to have a closure over here and up here, so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with that, but let's go to the sewing machine and I'm just going to sew all the way around the edge of both of these. Okay, we are going to, I don't remember where we left off because I got sidetracked. My daughter was in here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the little eyelet in the center here. Just use my crocodile. I'm going to use a gold crocodile, or a gold eyelet. Yeah, so my daughter's in here and she wants to make little accessories for her Barbie, and I'm just, oh my gosh, it is just bringing me back to my childhood and I love it. All right, I could figure out where the center is, but I mean, that looks good. Let's see, I'm gonna count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, yeah, that seems good to me. And then we'll do the same on here. Yeah, I think I knew from the start that this orientation is probably just going to work better for what I have in mind. The other way will look really cute, but it's just not exactly what I had in mind, I think. So that's okay, we'll see, because I wanted to try them both out anyways. Okay, there we go with that. Let's go ahead and do this one too. Let's go ahead and add any last minute embellishments. And I had this little offcut from the trim, and I kind of think that it looks super cute on here, so I'm just gonna go for that. And I'm excited that I get to make so many of these, regardless of which orientation I go with. I am making these this month for Patreon. And like I said, since these are a cardstock type journal, I am also going to make a little fabric bag that they can go into. And that's going to be kind of like my extra thing. Every month I do something like a little extra for the journals, whether it's adding lace onto the sides, adding pockets into them, yeah, many different things. And so this month I'm going to make cute little fabric pouches or bags for them to go into because I have so much cute fabric right now. Okay, for this one, I was thinking I want to add, I think, a little bow sticker. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that. I'm gonna add a little glue. Just to make sure that it's good to go. Oh my gosh, cute. Okay, there we go. Let's add a little seam binding into the little tag eyelets. For this one, I think I want to do, I'm going to go with orange since the carrots. And let's see. Yeah, so my idea is that adding the seam binding into here can act as a closure. Because you'll be able to tie them together if you want. But then it still has the illusion of being a tag. Okay. Now, with the vertical one, I may end up just adding a lot of seam binding at the tops of all of the pages that are in here. I'm still going to add seam binding too. For this one, I think I'll do yellow. Is it overkill or do I want to do blue? No, I think I want to go with yellow. And same idea. But this one, I don't think I would use the top as a closure on this one. That's the only reason why I think that this orientation, It works better for what I had in mind, but both going to be cute. The only thing is this one is just a little bit bigger. It's hard to find paper that's bigger than 12 inches across, so that's why it's kind of like the widest that I can really go easily. But just put this through here, and then we can go ahead and add our pages in. Okay, I am just planning to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So I'm going to take a couple paper clips here, open it to the center so I can hold all of the pages into place. I still need to glue these pockets shut, and I may go through and add like a couple embellishing things to the insides of the pockets, but for now I'm just going to keep it how it is, and I can do any embellishing after. That. All right, then just gonna go ahead and punch 3 holes, and I'm just going to go right into the center, down to the bottom about a 1/2 inch up, and I'm going to bring it to the edge of my table. Much easier to punch a hole. And then same thing about 1/2 inch from the top. There we go. Take my thread and needle. I'm using waxed linen thread. Go through the center. Leave a little tail on the inside. Go to the top. Go to the bottom. And then back in. And have this end be on the other side of that middle piece. Tighten it and tie it. And I'm going to double knot. And then I can cut the threads, remove the paper clips. This is so cute. So cute. This one just feels so nice in the hand. I'll go ahead and bind the other one off camera real quick so we can see what they both look like. I really like how this is, though. It's so cute. All right, here we go. I would love to know which one you like better down below. The horizontal or vertical. I have a hard time with it because I do like this orientation, but I feel like I would want to have a closure on this one because I do have a lot of pages in here. But I don't think it makes sense to have a closure right here and tying it at the top. I mean, it kind of keeps it closed, but it's not going to really. But I do love the little chick on this. So I think I may recreate a this orientation and try this little embellishment here. In fact, I mean, I'm going to be embellishing them all different anyways. So you let me know what you think. And I really like the fabric spine on this one. And not to say I couldn't do a fabric spine on this one, but with it being less wide, I just think it takes up more space. So they're both so cute. I'm just gonna have to play around with it for a bit. And I've been wanting to try, there is like a 2 signature journal that's kind of like this. It's a kind of a different technique I haven't tried before. So you may see me making some more of these and trying out different techniques. But for now, this will be it. And I hope that you guys have a lovely day. Thank you for watching, and thank you for leaving me a comment down below. I'm going to go ahead and try to tie this shut. I might need a little bit longer seam binding. And yes, I would love for you to make sure that you are subscribed. That's it. I hope you guys have a lovely day. I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.